Good evening and welcome to this edition of Month in Review. I'm Petty Officer Robert Long. In tonight's newscast, we're going to recap the top stories from Sasebo and Yokosuka for the month of July. Our top story tonight, Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable Ray Mabus, visited sailors in Yokosuka. Petty Officer Mike Story explains more.
Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus, visits sea commands during a tour of Commander Fleet Activities Yokosuka.
It's not every day you get a chance to have him on your ship and talk to your crew, and incredible honor for all of us.
Before leaving Yokosuka, Mabus holds an all-hands call to address sailors and their families on specific issues around the fleet.
And just the chance to talk to sailors and Marines, the chance to do it on ship, the chance to do it here at the all-hands call has just been terrific. It's one of the main reasons that I travel, is to get to see sailors and Marines at work doing the job that protects us all.
Having these one-on-one meetings with service members provides sailors with an opportunity to ask questions on future military operations and their own careers. Petty Officer Michael Story, Yokosuka Naval Base, Japan.
Sir, you take your own check.
Fleet Activities Sasebo's installation training team was assessed by the regional training team to see how effective their training is. Petty Officer Greg House was at the training to see how CFAS is preparing for a worst-case scenario.
Fleet Activities Sasebo conducted a training scenario in which first responders demonstrated how they would react to circumstances like a hostage situation with medical emergencies.
Training is very important for especially our first responders, because whenever a contingency occurs, an emergency happens, in order to safeguard lives and equipment, we have to be proficient in our response. And the only way to be at top proficiency is to practice and practice and practice.
Even though this is just an exercise, it is always important to approach training scenarios exactly as you would approach a real situation.
It's important to take training seriously because it only helps you when something real happens. I mean, if you don't train on it, you never know how you're going to react to it, so you're not going to do the best job. Training allows you to see what you need to work on.
Training prepares teams for worst-case scenarios, but there's a lot more that goes into setting up these training sessions.
Training is important, of course, but it's never more important than the safety of both our watchstanders and the training members and training team leaders that participate in these drills. So we try to make the drills as realistic as possible, but at the same time ensuring safety.
Through trainings like this one, first responders at CFAS are prepared to act in almost any situation. Petty Officer Greg House, Fleet Activities Sasebo, Japan.
Petty Officer Justin Nixon, a high-risk instructor at Yokosuka's firefighting trainer, teaches his students to adapt and overcome. Petty Officer Adrian White tells us how this sailor had to use that same motto in his own life.
If you ask Petty Officer First Class Justin Nixon about his job, this is what he'll tell you.
I love my job.
With 7 years of experience, Nixon is the youngest and most junior instructor at Yokosuka's firefighting trainer.
DC-1 Nixon trained sailors to adapt and overcome, but in 2010, he had to apply this to his own life.
I wasn't up for orders, so I filled out PTS form, sent it in. I thought everything was great. At the time, I was a second class, good conduct, 2 NAMs under my belt already. So I felt pretty good. It came back. I got denied.
It's a little easier when you're on flight then. Okay. Here at the school, we got to adapt and overcome. So you always keep that in mind, okay?
When he thought he had no options, Nixon advanced and saved his naval career. Adapt and overcome. That's how he lives each day. Petty Officer Adrian White, Yokosuka Naval Base, Japan.
The Nagasaki Syringe Kempo organization held their annual karate tournament. Navy children growing up in Sasebo were invited to compete. Seaman Che Rose tells us how Navy families are living and learning in Japan.
Being stationed overseas gives sailors and their families a unique opportunity to learn many things about the local culture.
The Japanese people have been very welcoming with this, to invite Navy base martial arts group in to participate in this tournament and to experience what they have to offer here and the ambiance of the whole tournament. So it's been great to work with them and to watch them practice.
Some of these children are not only learning about a new culture, they are learning about their own heritage.
I was born here in Sasebo, and I know a lot of the places, and my mom knows how to get around since she was born here too, and it means home to me. But so does San Diego, California.
For some sailors, Sasebo is more than just another duty station. Some service members have started their families here.
Being stationed here is a lot of fun for my family. My wife, being from the local area, is at home and comfortable here. And for me, just being here with the culture and living a different type of life than most Americans aren't accustomed to is reward for me.
At the karate tournament, American students compete as equals with their Japanese counterparts. Sometimes they even win. Seaman Cheiro's Fleet Activities, Sasebo, Japan.
Security force members in Yokosuka break away from their pack to fulfill their duties on open water. Petty Officer Mike Story explains more.
Home to 11 U.S. Navy vessels and numerous Japanese ships, Yokosuka's Truman Bay is one of the most active ports in Japan.
This is a very dynamic, flexible environment. You have to be ready for just about anything.
It's a very big responsibility, being the first line of defense. We do know that we have the 28,000 personnel on this base that are looking to us to protect them.
That's our primary mission, yes, to maintain security for outbound U.S. naval and coalition vessels in and out of Yokosuka Harbor, and to maintain ATFP protection of the actual piers themselves and the base.
The demanding service these silent guardians of the bay provide continue to ensure the safe passage of ships and the thousands of lives on board. Petty Officer Michael Story, Yokosuka Naval Base, Japan.
The rainy season has ended, bringing intense heat and humidity. Let's take a look at your local weather forecast to see if cooler weather will come this weekend.
Here's your 3-day weather forecast and current exchange rate for the Sasebo, Atsugi, and Yokosuka areas.
The primary focus of sailors while on patrol is to accomplish their given mission. When the mission is complete, sailors can return home to friends and loved ones. Petty Officer Derek Allen attended a homecoming and shares what the sailors accomplished during their time away and what they look forward to once home.
USS Germantown returns to Sasebo after their spring patrol. While on patrol, the Germantown participated in cooperation, afloat readiness, and training.
Our main mission for Germantown during this patrol was to conduct CARAT. It's an opportunity for us to operate both ashore and at sea with our allies.
Sailors stayed focused on the mission by looking out for one another.
Just keeping each other motivated, being motivated about everything we do. That's what the Navy's about, keeping everyone motivated and doing the job right.
With their return home, sailors on the Germantown enjoy some time off with loved ones.
I am relieved to be back home, coming back to my mom. I'm super ecstatic. I'm ready to get a good break in.
Petty Officer Derek Allen, Fleet Activities, Sasebo, Japan.
And that does it for this edition of Month in Review. If you missed any portion of this newscast, we'll be posting it to our Facebook tomorrow morning. You can also find us on YouTube at AFN Sasebo, Japan. Tune in next Thursday at the same time for AFN's monthly travel show, Kyushu Explorer, where Petty Officers Waters and Browning will show you how a one-day trip has it all. I'm Petty Officer Robert Long, and from all of us here at AFN, thank you for watching and have a great evening.